Welcome back. Well, it is the last day of Women's Month, so let's have this discussion now. More men, particularly those in positions of influence, need to come to a fuller understanding of their role in driving progress towards a more equitable society. This is the opinion of Gift Xaba, Senior Associate in the Pro Bono and Human Rights Practice of Cliffe, Dekker, Hofmeyr. Xaba says, given that in certain circles, gender-based violence is still regarded as a taboo subject, men can make a difference by talking about it, engaging other men on these issues and raising awareness. He joins me now to have this discussion. Gift, a good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is such a refreshing approach, I have to say that, because I think that I noticed it particularly after the death of Naledi, the conversation really starting to turn. For me anyway, it stood out that at that point, more and more women were saying, why aren't the men saying something? And you've taken that a step further. Why was that important for you to do?
Good morning, Naledi, again, and thanks for having me, and good morning to your viewers as well. I think this has been part of our, discourse for some time now as a nation and as a people. And it's really not, there's nothing new really in what I'm saying. It has been a point of reflection and from a personal perspective and looking back at what I've been contributing towards this discourse or the lack thereof. And it has been a poignant moment for me and those that I live with and those that surround me to really to step up and be more vocal about this subject, which is very significant and which has been impacting our country on so many levels for so many years now. And I must say that perhaps what one can say is the virtual pledge, which was launched by the president of the nation and the cabinet for men to step up and commit to this project, has been a very significant step. I think it's one of the most standout things that I've seen happening, at least on this discourse from a political authority level. So I think it's about time, really, all of us came out, Naledi, to really, I think the approach of being silent or fence sitting to a certain extent, if for a lack of a better word, I think is that time is long gone now. If we are to find a long-lasting solution towards this scourge, we all have to put our hands together, and we all gonna have to use our collective voice and intelligence to address this issue and call it out.
And the thing is that when you talk about gender issues in South Africa, it is such a broad discussion. It's not just about gender-based violence, right, or anything else. It has to do with patriarchy. It also is the issues that need to be dealt with around gender parity, for instance, in the workplace. And I want to start there, right? Gender parity in the workplace, for instance. You're quoted as saying that men, let me just clarify this. You talk about gender norms really at the crux of the matter, and I want to unpack that and how gender norms very much impact women even in the workplace.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, what happens in the workplace, Naledi, does not happen in a vacuum. What our attitudes and our actions in the workplace are a demonstration of our psyche as a society in general. So what gets to be reflected in the workplace is, like I said, attitudes that we come with from a personal level, from a nucleus family level, from a community level, and those behaviors then get to be demonstrated in the workplace. So it's nothing that's sort of like new or happened in and of itself. It's something that's happening outside the workplace. But what I'm saying is those who occupy positions of influence and leadership positions within the workplace need to be quite exemplary on this. They need to come out and be unequivocal and be clear in their messaging around these issues. And I think that's where I think this is where the conversation gets empatized, because then it comes from persons with gravitas. And I must say, within the corporate sphere, within commerce, the commerce sector. I think there's been quite, a number of steps and some really vocal actions or conduct that have been taken by various entities in making it a point that their entities really live the values that are espoused in the code of good practice on sexual harassment.
Yeah.
So it's really not something that's peculiar to the workplace only. Like I said, it's behaviors that are that are institutional, structural, and also individual as well.
I like this, and I want to quote something you said. You're quoted as saying, it is, in your opinion, important for men to promote and protect the elements within our cultures that embrace and celebrate the remarkable and phenomenal power of women. I mean, it's almost poetic, right? And it sounds like, oh, that's such a lovely thing to say. But it is actionable, right? And I want to talk about how we do that. And if it is a difficult thing to say to men, well, accept and embrace the remarkable power of women. It sounds almost emotional, but it sounds like also a difficult thing to say.
I mean, yes, absolutely, and for many reasons. And Naledi, I think for men who could be regarded as living positive values in general, this discussion is not an easy one. It's a hard decision because with it comes a sense of shame and heavy-heartedness. So I agree with you. It's not readily possible for us to really to come to platform and really unpack all the nuances and complications that come with this discussion. But we all know, with all our different backgrounds and upbringing, we all know how much we've been taught, to respect and to embrace women. And I come from a background where I've been told of stories and anecdotes that really portray my grandmother as and my mother as a goddess. So that's the background I came from. So that's and that's not something that's peculiar to a particular cultural demographic. Is something that's all it's something that's within our culture, I think, as African people and as South Africans. And those are the things that we need to focus on. And those are the things that I think will help bridge this seeming gap between what we say and how we act, I think, as men in this country. So I think that's where the focus is. But like I said, these conversations tend to be heavy because they come with a heavy burden of emotion. But we need to sustain our strength and resilience to face these challenges head on. And we need to, as men, we need to also, this must not be a conversation that we are somewhat in the periphery from. We need to be we need to be part of it, and we need to embrace it. And there's no better time than now. I think the urgency, the element of urgency is just too much.